Welcome to Animal Football Insider, your weekly look into the happenings of your Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Florida Gators, and all things related to football. And now, from West Des Moines, Iowa, here's your host, The Animal.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year. So really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me, my family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
And with that being said, the big news of the week happened a few days ago. Tom Brady has decided that he's going to finally hang it up. Okay, let me get this off here. Let's get this off. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, but anyways, the big news being that, yes, Tom Brady announced this week he is finally deciding to hang it up, calling it quits. And judging by that, I think it could be the final time. We're going to discuss all that coming up in just a few minutes. Glad you could be with us on this edition of the Animal Football Insider. You're truly animal coming at you from the confines of West Des Moines, Iowa. As you look behind me, I got my new blue Florida Gator jersey. No name on the back of it, so I got to find somebody in Des Moines that knows how to do that. So anybody that knows that, please let me know. I would love for somebody to help me figure out how to get my name put on a jersey. So, but this one right here, this is an authentic Anthony Richardson jersey. Okay, got through Fanatics. So if you want to buy some of the greatest gear stuff, whether it be Buccaneers, Florida Gators, Colorado, whatever team you like, Fanatics has it. Go online, fanatics.com, and they have some of the best stuff that you ever want to get. So that's going to be interesting. So they have some great stuff, and the prices are very reasonable. So check it out, fanatics.com, for all your football stuff, baseball stuff, basketball stuff, whatever you want. They have the best. Boy, so I'm going to wear this tonight. But glad you could join us on this edition of the Animal Football Insider. You know, we don't have a set agenda for tonight. We thought we'd kind of like talk things through. Talk about the things that you people want to talk about. The chat room is open. We welcome you all of your conversations, anything that you want to talk about. Certainly we'll talk about what's going to happen in the championship in the Super Bowl, as the Kansas City Chiefs will be playing the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl for the right to be who's the best in all college football. And believe you me, I have a lot of thoughts on what happened with that game, the Kansas City game. Eagles game was a blowout. Was a pure blowout. But man, that Cincinnati game just ticked me off. And we'll talk about all that in just a couple of minutes. But let's first get to these guys right here, the Florida Gators, because they wrapped up the recruiting cycle for 2023 yesterday with the signing period. Not much headway was made at all. They signed one player to a scholarship. They signed a couple of preferred walk-ons. But the big story that was out of this was the whole Jacob Rashada deal that Coach Billy Napier refused to comment on, didn't want to talk about it, and yet he can't. And I can't say I blame Billy Napier for all that. That's something that Billy Napier had nothing to do with, people. Nothing to do with. That's like Lucas the Man Gator getting involved in a contract signing, trying to sign a player. No involvement. And you got Lucas the Man Gator probably paying millions of dollars for it. Dirty rat bastard, you know? No, to be fair, I love Lucas. He is a guy that's on top of things, not the probably most, sane person in the world, and God bless Lucas, for all his faults and what he has, but he's a great guy. I love the man, dirty rat bastard, Lucas is supposed to join me later on tonight. I doubt that he will. He's probably hanging out with his dates. Well, his all 23 girlfriends that he has all at one time. I hear that Lucas is really a ladies' man. That's about like Derek Carr being a all-pro. Speak of Derek Carr, but by the way, let me tell you things that are going on tonight. The Pro Bowl competition is going on, and surprisingly, it looks very interesting. Okay. We have the East-West Shrine Bowl that's going on the NFL Network. A lot of interesting plays from that. We have the Senior Bowl that's going to be coming up this weekend. A few Gators are involved in that, including offensive tackle Osiris Torrance, I believe that's his name is, along with several other people, including another offensive lineman named Richard Garage. So we got a few Gators involved in that game as well. So it should be very interesting to see how well they play as they get ready for the NFL draft. Oh, look at that. And I can't let you on. You got to get those ladies out of the picture, Lucas. Come on. Yeah, that's right. Get them out of the picture, okay? Come on now. There you go. Tell them to leave. There you go. Got to straighten up the hat. Good guy. You look like a hillbilly from Gainesville, There you go. We'll bring you on in just a minute. But we have a good show tonight. Peter Collins is watching it. I'm gonna get you a comment here in just a minute, okay? And we're gonna talk, and we'll have plenty of discussion about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lucas, push her out of the way, son. Come on now. I'm ready to go on with you. You got to tell her. You got to wait till you get done with this interview. This is a very important interview that you are doing, sir. Okay? Good God Almighty. Oh, God. If you ever want to know about recruiting and what's going on with college football, and particularly with the Florida Gators, no better man to know than Lucas the Man Gator. And good God, Thomas Goldcamp has nothing on Lucas the Man Gator, and then we're kind of going to talk about that here in just a minute here. But he joins me on this edition of the Animal Football Inside. How do you get the goods, man? How do you get the goods? I don't understand you.
What's up, buddy? I love you, but can you calm down a little bit? Get a little bro.
There you go. So you got what you got to do. You got to find a way to get a mic closer to you, because, and I'm being honest with you, because you're kind of like yelling a little bit. So you got to kind of like get your mic closer to you so we can understand you a little bit better what you're saying. But saying all that, Gators finished up the 2023 class. They finished up the 11th, they're having the 11th best recruiting class in the country. And for a guy like Billy Napier, Lucas, I got to say, he did a pretty damn good job.
If we put it this way, if Rashada stays in the class, I think it's safe to say we get a top 10 class. I'm pretty happy with the way things turned out.
I am too. And it's a shame that the whole Rashada deal happened the way it did. And for those that don't know what we're talking about, kind of view for what happened. Jacob Rashada, quarterback out of California. I'm not sure where he was from, but anyways, Gators assigned him to a contract. Let me rephrase that. Gators had signed him to a scholarship. Okay. Now, before this scholarship was even signed, several people involved with, quote, Gator Collective, which is an NIL deal, which is an NIL thing, started to negotiate with Rashada about signing on, coming on with them. Now, the controversy comes up with this. Was it legal for them to sign Rashada to a contract before he signed a letter of intent?
I
Now,
don't. I don't.
Lucas, hang on before you talk. Let me explain myself. The controversy that I have in all this is, and this is one I'm understanding, when you sign an NIL deal, okay, which stands for name, image, and likeness. When you sign for an NIL deal, you cannot sign until you sign your letter of intent, and this was done before that letter of intent was signed. So
About
I'll
2
let
years.
you take it from here, and you can say whatever you want to say.
I'm honestly glad he. I'm honestly glad it's over. It seemed to me he was only here because of NIL, and he wanted the most money. I want guys that want to be here and play for the team. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on that standpoint. That if you're going to sign a play, you want him to play at the university. You don't want him to come because of the money, so to speak, like what Colorado's doing and signing several of their players. I don't want to even discuss.
You can see why
I I don't want to even discuss what he's doing at Colorado. I want to. I think it's despicable at what Deion Sanders is doing, not just with the school, but what he's doing for college football. But enough with Deion Sanders. I'm
I,
very happy with. I'm very happy with the way this class turned out.
I
Okay, number 11 in the country. They got the guys that they want. And if you listen to Billy Napier, he doesn't sound disappointed by the players that he got.
like I said, if Rashad sticks, we get a top 10 class. This if you go by average player ranking, which is what I go by to judge a class, it's the highest average player ranking since Urban Meyer left.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of people say that this could be the best class that they've had since the last time Urban Meyer came into the University of Florida. Now, we got some news today that we can share with you tonight, and it's kind of good news. Players will report for spring camp on March 4th,
I think
and
that
then
no,
on
that was
and then
yesterday. That was yesterday.
right, the news came out yesterday that it's going to be March 4th when the players report. They're going to do their orange and blue game April 18th. Am I right on
Yeah,
that?
13th, and the reason why they're doing that. The reason why they're doing that is so they can host more recruits because they want they want they want all eyes on them, and they want to be able to host more recruits as possible. So there's a reason why.
What right now? What Lucas is referring to? Lucas the Man Gator, and you're sort of the animal with you on this edition on the Animal Football Insider. And I'm stupid here because I should be doing this. Let me find my thing here.
April 13th.
Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Hosted by Corporate Direct of Des Moines, Iowa.
Did you freeze, dude? Can you hear me? Let me see.
Okay, guys, sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, and we lost our Wi-Fi. May get Lucas Band back on in a few minutes. But yeah, the Gators had a great recruiting class. They finished 11th in the country. The whole Jacob Rashada deal's done. He signed with Arizona State, so that whole deal's done. Now, um, one of the things that's just going on is that the NCAA is going to announce new standards for the NIL. They're going to change up things. We don't know when that announcement is going to happen. Now, what effect it has on the University of Florida could be very interesting to see. Um, what I've been told is that Florida could be investigated. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but we'll see what happens in the process. But everything that I'm hearing points to the possibility that once this announcement is made next week, because of the whole Jacob Rashada situation, the possibility may exist that that the Florida Gators could very well be under an investigation. Now, as I bring Lucas the main Gator back on, sorry about that. We had some Wi-Fi difficulties. Thanks for joining with me. What impact do you think, if at all? Because we're hearing now that the NCAA may be announcing changes to how this NIL is going to be done, and that because of the whole Jacob Rashada situation, could the NCAA, in your mind, come back and investigate the Florida Gators on this?
I don't think so because I don't think so. But I will say this: there needs to be like a cap that you can get. Like say say something like you only get like I don't know like $500 or something like that because
No, I get what. No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I agree with you that there should be a cap on how much they're allowed to offer these kids. But given everything that's happened, I mean, I would think that because a deal was and a scholarship was not signed, that the NCAA could come back and investigate Florida. But I don't know how you feel about that.
I don't think so. But I don't think so. But I will say this: if you look at 2024, we already have a 5-star quarterback committed, two top 60 linebackers. One of them is Ernest Graham's kid, Miles Graham, and then we have a top 300 running back already committed. And from what I can gather, per Corey Bender, we have some kids that could be on commit watch pretty soon.
Let me ask you about Miles Graham. He's just on Ernest Graham, who used to be a Florida Gator, then was a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, great player. I'm not going to doubt that. Is he totally committed to the Florida Gators, or is he going to be? Or does he say, I want to look at other schools and make my decision later? Well, what's his situation?
Florida has nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. He is gonna take his visits, which I don't blame the kid because you only get one.
No.
But he is gonna take his visits. But Florida, he's been very vocal. He's been very vocal about recruiting players to Florida. So I'm not worried about Miles leaving the class. I honestly think he sticks.
Let's talk about some other things here. I want to get off the Florida Gators for a few minutes. We had championship games last Sunday. Two games. One was a blowout. The other one was a game that came down basically to the very end. I don't know if you saw. Did you see the Cincinnati Bengal KC game?
I listened to it on the radio when I was in bed.
So you never saw the game? Okay. So okay, I don't know. Who do you like in the Super Bowl?
I got. Depending on how Patrick Mahomes, it depends on how Patrick Mahomes does. Because if Patrick Mahomes is himself, I got the Chiefs, and but if he isn't, I got the Eagles. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. It depends on the how well he plays in the game. Now, I was going to find something out real quick. Before you go, let me find this out real
Oh,
quick.
and another thing. Andy Jean, freshman wide receiver from Miami, was
Yes.
clocked at 22 miles per hour and is at 200 pounds. I think I'm expecting big things from him.
What do you mean 22 miles per hour? What are you talking about? Clocking at 20? What do you mean?
As far as how fast he runs.
Oh, okay. Well, that's that's a pretty fast for a wide receiver. Yeah. So Andy Jean, who's a new recruit, yeah, I think they're looking for big things out of him, and it's going to be very interesting to see. All right. Well,
Uh,
we're going to come back for the final show and next week after the Super Bowl, and we'll find out how your prediction plays out. And
I'll,
remember, if you're wrong, you owe me $20.
I can join you. I can. I'm always open to
There you
helping.
go. Hey, Lucas, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Okay. You're welcome.
All right.
You're welcome. Thank
Thanks.
you, Jack.
Thanks a lot, man. Lucas the Man Gator joining me on this edition of the Animal Football Insider on this edition. Yeah, we're going to, as I said, we're going to be talking about a lot of things tonight. We don't have a set agenda, but I got to talk about the game last Sunday against KC and Cincinnati. It was a great game, but let me tell you, there were a lot of controversial calls in that game, including the one play where the referees had to stop the game, reset the ball, and then they had to come back. And I look at that game and I was thinking to myself that was horrible against Cincinnati, and then to see the hit on the out of bounds towards the end of the game, I was just teed off about that. Okay, because I think what people have to understand that we have a player going towards out of bounds, the defensive player is in motion and he's going at a lightning speed and he doesn't really have time to stop. Okay, now could he have tried to stop? Yes, but he didn't made a I don't think it was an intentional hit, but a flag was thrown, which I don't think a flag should have been thrown, and it just caused a lot of problems, and in the end, it caused them to lose the game to KC. But as Zach Taylor would tell you after the game, that wasn't the only play that cost them the game. There were other plays during the course of the game that could have prevented things from getting out of hand in the way they were. But kudos to Cincinnati. They're going to be back. I love Joe Burrow. I love Cincinnati. I love the way they're doing things. And it was just amazing. Lauren Meadows is going to join me here in a few minutes on the Animal Football Insider. Now, as we told you at the top, and you saw the video, Tom Brady has retired. So now, with Blaine Gabbert being on the free agent market, it looks like the ball could be placed in Kyle Trask's hands. Now, as Peter Gallant points out, and he joins us on this, who joins us, says, "Hi, Animal. Good luck, Brady. Wish Trask was ready to take the helm, yet he's not ready. Jimmy G may do the job, but Jason, as in Jason Light, has things moving. Don't care who wins the Super Bowl." Like I really asked you, huh? But here's the thing about Tom Brady. Now, the agents for Brady are going to go back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to just try and re-sign him to a lower cost contract to help with the salary cap. Because what will happen is, now that Brady is retired, the whole $35 million could possibly go against him for the whole year. But it could also be divided into two separate years. I believe like $11 million this year, then the other $24 million the next year. Now, the Buccaneers are faced with a major dilemma on how they want to do things. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, would I like to see Kyle Trask take the helm? Yes. Do I think that he's going to take the helm? Yes. Here's the thing, the people that you have to remember. Tough times are going to be ahead for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Why? Because when you win a Super Bowl, everybody would say, oh, great, it's worth it we spent this money. Where are you at right now? Where are you at right now? You're in salary cap hell at this point. $55 million under the cap. Yes, you can get rid of Donovan Smith, who I hope to God they get rid of. Because I am so sick and tired of the holding penalty that he commits time after time. I'm not seeing that many holding penalties against Donovan Smith since Lauren Meadows went to Sonny's Barbecue and was trying to hold waitresses left and right. That's another story altogether, you know. But Lauren would say, "Hey, I didn't do it. I'm innocent. But still, Lauren Donovan Smith does not need to be on this team. They need to start looking for a left tackle. And if I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with everything that I saw today, the workouts with the Senior Bowl, which is where he's at right now, he's been dominating that line of scrimmage. And I would not be surprised. The Bucs pick at 19. I will not be surprised if the Buccaneers try to put a little package together to try and move up in the draft and make a bid for Lauren. Okay? Because he is that good of an offensive lineman. And you could solve your problems with protection on the offensive line. Now, of course, the Buccaneers have their issues trying to get an offensive coordinator. They've interviewed several candidates, the latest being Todd Monken, who used to be under the offensive coordinator under Jameis Winston. Do not be surprised if he comes on as the offensive coordinator. Do not be surprised if he puts Kyle Trask as the number one quarterback and let him work through his routes. Let him work through his progressions. But the people don't know Kyle Trask is an excellent quarterback. Trask has the ability to do things, and even as Lauren Meadows, as he get ready to join it. Oh God, he's stealing that Sonny's Real Pit Barbecue. Okay, put that last bite in, then we'll join you in just a second. But as Lauren Meadows would tell you, even Kyle Trask is a heck of a quarterback if he's put in the right system. And for the Buccaneers, he fits right into that system. Lauren Meadows joined me on this edition of the Animal Football Insider. Did you get enough for Sonny's Real Pit Barbecue, my friend, that I had there in the green room there for you?
I did. It was pretty good. Ribs and cornbread and baked beans. Yeah, it was solid.
Tell you, man. I go, hey son, I go all out for you. They'll all go out for you.
You did. That was awesome.
There are a lot of people that are against Kyle Trask trying to be the new quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now that Tom Brady has retired. But I loved Kyle Trask. I love what he does, and I think with a guy like Tom Monken being the offensive coordinator, I don't see what they can't go wrong with letting a guy like Trask work through the progressions and become the quarterback that I think that we know that he can become.
Well, I think that you look at now. I mean, Tampa Bay is just they need so much. I think they're kind of in what you might call a reset. I wouldn't necessarily call it a rebuild, but they've got to get a little bit more speed on the outside. I think they've got a couple good young tight ends. Kyle Trask obviously knows how to get the ball to tight end, and Tampa Bay being a hot destination for free agents, things like that. If they can get the salary cap together and get some people around him, he's a guy that, at least in the college game, doesn't seem to throw a lot of interceptions. You talk about somebody who, if you make him the starter, is going to get 90% of the snaps during 2 days as well as during the weeks. And I'm with you. I mean, you might as well put him out there. You drafted him, in the second round for a reason, so why'd you draft him? You want to find out, but I would like to think that they've kept him around. And if you look, he really didn't dress much the first year. But this next year, they kind of start dressing him a little bit, and kind of really tried to figure out what he had the last preseason game, and now that Leftwich is gone, like you said, Todd Monken comes along, and it could be a good situation for him. I mean, the pros are so um, fickle with things and so quick, but you got to put him out there and find out what you got. I mean, a lot of people think that Lamar Jackson will somehow end up in Tampa Bay, but if you look at the way that Tampa Bay is constructed right now, I'm not sure that's a great landing spot for any veteran quarterback looking to win a championship.
I don't know how they can bring around a veteran quarterback considering the salary cap hell that they are in. $55 million over the cap. I mean, Blaine Gabbert might not return. Donovan Smith, who's a left tackle, commands a lot of money. Who I hope to God they get rid of because he holds too much. And a few other players. I think that they can rework some contracts and get into a sensible mind frame. But people think that a guy like Lamar Jackson or Jimmy Garoppolo is coming to Tampa. They have another thing coming.
Yeah, I mean, Garoppolo would be, the odds-on choice just because, San Francisco's been trying to get rid of him forever. But, you kind of had the same problem that you had with really you got the same problem with really all four quarterbacks per se. Gabbert, if you throw Garoppolo in there, Brady, and then Trask, is you have guys that, possess limited arms, can be accurate when they want to be. But, I think Garoppolo, if you take Garoppolo versus Trask, you're really just getting a younger Garoppolo right now. And, like I said, same thing. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Garoppolo, that would be a place for him because obviously he looks to be on his way out of San Francisco finally. But, it's just going to be interesting to see how this all falls out. But you got Trask, you brought him in for a reason. And at this point, I mean, I think as you reset kind of your team, I think you go out and get, try to get some, like I said, some speed at wide receiver, retool the offensive line. I think they were 32nd or 31st in rushing, one of the worst rushing teams in the NFL. And you and I both know you could throw it all over the place, but you got to be able to run the football. So like you said, I mean, retool the offensive line, find some playmakers on the outside as Mike Evans and Chris Godwin seem to be getting a little longer in the tooth. You probably will lose Julio Jones. He'll probably go somewhere and, like I said, try to get on somebody's team that's ready to win now. And so I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, they kind of went all in for the last 2 or 3 years trying to get a couple titles. And like I tell people, it's kind of like LeBron James with the Lakers. You got one. So same thing with Tampa Bay. You brought Brady in, you got one. You got one. Hey, a lot of people want to make a big deal about that stuff, but you get one in 3 years. You look at the Lakers, LeBron comes, the second year he's there, bubble or not, the trophy looks the same, and you got one. So, that kind of stuff pays dividends. You don't always get 2, 3, and 4, but you got one. So the experiment worked and got to have a nice boat parade and, throw the trophy from the boat and all that good stuff. And there you go.
Yeah. There you go. Lauren Meadows joins us on the Carpet Direct hotline. Carpet Direct for all your carpeting needs in the Des Moines, Iowa area. If you need carpeting done in Des Moines, give my good friend Benton Taylor a call at 712-260-2867. Carpet Direct. Des Moines, Iowa's number one carpeting needs in the Des Moines, Iowa area, and that for the state of Florida area. Give my good friend Ben Taylor a call. That's my sponsorship I have to do. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
so
I'm telling you, man, carpet is all about the padding. If you got good padding, don't matter how you spring on the carpet, that padding is what makes that's what makes it. You got to have that padding under.
You done right. And if anybody knows anything about padding, is my good friend Benton Taylor. So I gotta get Benton on sometime and talk about what's going on with his company. We'll get into the Florida Gator news and everything that happened with that in a few minutes. Did you look at the games on Sunday, the conference championship games?
Yeah, I didn't give as much I kind of caught the back end of Philly and I can't remember what I was doing, but I caught the back end. I think I might just been watching me and the wife watching TV or something. So I caught the back end of Philly, um, Philly, San
Giants.
Francisco, and
Yeah.
but I did watch the entire Kansas City Bengals game. Obviously, being from Ohio and that kind of thing. I'm not a Bengals fan at all. Kind of a
Really?
Chiefs fan because no, not at all. Tennessee Titans actually. That's my squad.
Well, but then you're not gonna like the next question I ask because I was gonna say
Well,
with everything that
I was,
happened.
and then
Good.
and then like I said, I one of my best friends actually coached both Kelseys in high school. He was their high
Oh,
school
really?
football coach. Yeah, in
Oh,
Ohio, and
wow.
they're in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. So I've known both Jason and Travis since they were in high school. So always kind of root for. And then obviously my boy Kadarius Tony is on the Chiefs
Oh, yeah.
now. So kind of like, even though my
Uh,
boy Zach
yeah.
Carter's my dude. Zach Carter's my dude too. Real good dude. Noah's girlfriend, Cheyenne Lindsay, who played softball at UF as well. Both really good kids, and so I was kind of torn in some ways, but if I had to pick between the Chiefs and the Bengals, I was kind of rooting for the Chiefs. So you know,
I gotta tell you, I saw the Chiefs Bengals game, and I commented earlier. I'll say to you, I thought that was kind of a one-sided game. I thought the officiating was just horrible, especially when they replaced the ball on that one play. Took 10 minutes to do all that. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't want to say that games are rigged, but I mean, it looked to me like the officials were doing everything they could to give Kansas City that game.
well, I look at it this way. You look at it that way, and then you go back to, and like I said, this one hits home. Uh, Titans, Bengals last year, even though Tannehill threw 3 interceptions, there was some calls that were a little shaky in that game. If you look at Bengals Chiefs last year, there were some questionable calls. And I think, you got to kind of look, like I said, you got to look yourself in the mirror sometime. And I think we forget sometimes that as much as, Cincinnati was walking around smoking cigars and doing all these things after a divisional win, Joe Burrow did throw 2 interceptions,
They did,
and
yeah, yeah,
I think he
true.
was sacked. I think he was sacked, 8 times, you know, you probably
True.
shouldn't win the game anyway.
No, no. I
But
mean,
but
I
I
did,
mean,
I did see that.
there was
I
some
looked at kids.
it was shaky. It was shaky, and and
It
and
was, it
and
really was.
officiating and officiating has been a little shaky, throughout in it really at every level, because the NBA is terrible too, and so is college basketball and football. I just think that I mean, I just think it's one of those things where in a close game, there's calls that happen. Obviously, the late hit on Mahomes was clearly a late hit. If you look at the call that where they stopped them, and then they get the holding penalty. What people don't realize is they stop them 3 plays later. They
They
run the
did,
play,
yeah.
they get the
They
holding
did,
penalty,
yeah.
they stop them 3 plays later. The Bengals get the ball and then go down and score. So that
Right.
really, I mean, people want to pinpoint that, but that really didn't have. I mean, it was goofy, but that didn't have really any bearing on the game. And then if you look at the last drive, you know, um,
I
I
I
mean,
I know.
you got to,
I look at. I know. I'm looking at that last drive and then moving down the field. Then I see the
mhm.
controversial play where the Bengals fan. I mean, he didn't. He didn't. It's not like that he pushed him out on purpose, but I mean, it's like
The late hit.
what's gonna. Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
I'm gonna tell, and to be fair about it, when you see the instant replay, when he hit the player, he was already out of bounds. So looking
yeah,
back on the play, yes, it was a good call,
two
but
two
was
feet
it?
out of bounds.
I think it was maybe 1, 2 feet out of bounds, but should have really been called, because I say to myself, you knew he was going to go out of bounds. Why make the call like that? You know, I mean, the
I
player got
mean,
up. Well, no, the player didn't get up because he got because
yeah.
since it was a Bengals play,
When
he ended up getting injured. If I'm not
when it when it
mistaken.
ha- when it happened, I literally yelled out to my wife. I was like, "They're gonna win the game. They just got a penalty."
Yeah,
And my wife
yeah.
was like, "What?" I mean, right when it happened, I mean, it was, and see, that's the thing is, I think sometimes that, when you say people say that, well, you can't make that call then. Well, then if you don't make that call, then you don't make it in the first quarter, because they would make it in the first quarter. You don't. There's no such thing as don't make. You make the call. Period. You make the call, and
Yeah,
once
yeah,
once
yeah,
once
yeah.
once Eli Apple comes to realize that, okay, holding is holding. You don't get to hold the last 5 minutes, which seems to be his MO. Is the last 5 minutes he decides, well, I'm gonna start grabbing everything that moves, and he ends up being the culprit in these games, late in games, and it's like you don't get to play the way you want to play the last 5 minutes of the game. It just doesn't happen that way. And I think that's obviously it's an offensive game. I mean, I think defensive holding is called entirely too much. I don't think it should be an
Oh yeah.
automatic first down. I mean, they have just I mean, you see defensive holding called far more than you do pass interference. And I just think that it's just a situation again where they've made the game too offensive. I thought the Chiefs, as many times as they hit Burrow, did a nice job of laying off so they didn't get these phantom roughing. I mean, if you look, the one time, the guy, my wife even noticed, they literally he grabs him from behind and just sits Burrow down just so he doesn't get the
Yeah.
rough passer. So I just think at this point, man, it's just they want to clean up the game. Nobody wants a big lawsuit. They're worried about the concussions and different things. And it's kind
Right.
of like NIL. We talked about it. I think it's just where we are I mean, they're literally playing flag football at the Pro Bowl. So if you remember,
When,
Sports Illustrated used to do this thing called a sign that the apocalypse is upon us. They still may do it.
yeah.
I haven't read, but here we are. There's flag at the Pro Bowl, and now you can't even lay down on the quarterback. So it is
Yeah.
clearly a sign that the apocalypse is upon us.
I look at the post game, and I'm hearing and trust me, I don't like Philadelphia. I hate the Eagles. I hate their fans. I cannot stand them. Let me tell you how bad I hate them. Lauren Meadows from Gatormate Magazine joining us on this special Thursday night edition of Animal Football Insider, sponsored by Carpet Direct One of Des Moines, Iowa. I hate Philadelphia. I cannot stand them, and I hate them so bad. I think of them like yesterday's lunch. I just can't stand them.
That
And
old
how
ham
bad?
sandwich.
Let me tell you how bad I hate them. And this is a true story. When the Buccaneers were playing in the NFC Championship the first time around, okay, they went to Philadelphia to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, now they were entering the game with some very heavy hearts for one of their players, Joe Vicious, who was a wide
Mhm.
receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Used to play with the New York Giants.
Ohio
For
guy.
Joe Vicious had a family situation where his baby was in the hospital. He was in
I
intensive
remember.
care unit. They did not know if he's going to make it. As you know by now, he passed away. But at the
Mhm.
time, Joe Vicious came to Philadelphia. He came to the game. He didn't have to, but Joe Vicious comes to the game. Joe Vicious is walking out onto the field. Guess what happens? Eagle fans are yelling, "Hey Joe!" No, 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 no. His kid had already did. No, I'm sorry. His baby had already passed away, and Joe Vicious still decides to play. So
Mhm.
what do Eagle fans do? Hey Joe, how's your kid doing? Where's your kid today? Is he with you? How's he doing? I mean, just throwing is hurling insults at him, insults after like that. I was just so mad when I heard all of that. And I was so glad the Buccaneers won, and I still hate them to this day. But I saw a lot of the post game antics going on with Kansas City after the game. I saw how Travis Kelsey was giving the mayor of Cincinnati a lot of grief, calling him a jabroni. Just Kansas City, just acting so arrogant. And I said to myself, you know, that's not the kind of team I would want to root for. I mean, I know how you feel, but I found it just distasteful. I don't know how you
Well,
feel.
I think it's distasteful. I mean, I'll play devil's advocate. I think it's distasteful for the mayor to get up and say that we had a paternity test and we want to check to see if Joe Burrow is Patrick Mahomes' daddy. So, it's kind of that was kind of one of those things where what goes around kind of comes around. And you have to remember where Travis Kelsey is from, and that would be Cleveland. And if you know anything about the state of Ohio, if you are from
Oh yeah.
Cleveland, you definitely don't like the city of Cincinnati and vice versa. So you're talking about somebody who grew up in the Cleveland area and probably was raised from day one to have a disdain for the city of Cincinnati. I mean, they literally sit on opposite ends of the state. And I don't know if you guys have that kind of rivalry in Iowa, but in Ohio, the hate is real between the two cities. So I think
I
you
would
saw a little bit of that.
I would imagine. I got to tell you, to the credit of the mayor of Cincinnati, he took it. He took it. He showed a lot of class and said, "Hey, look, I'm going to take it. I deserve it. I shut up my mouth, and this is what
Mhm.
happened." And as we head into the game, that storyline with the Kelsey brothers, Travis for the Kansas City Chiefs, Jason for the Philadelphia Eagles. They both play on offense, so they're not going to play against each other. But I
No,
wonder how neat. I wonder how neat it would be if for just one play only, Jason Kelsey lines up playing against Travis Kelsey for one play only. I mean,
right.
that would be so cool to see.
Well, I mean, Jason was a high school linebacker, so he did play middle linebacker in high school. So, you never know. Who
You
knows?
never know. I think and of course doing it all in good fun and realistically,
Mhm.
I think it's going to be one of the better games that we are going to see. Um, I am flipped. By the way, again, Lauren Meadows joining us from Gator Bait Magazine, joining me on this edition of Animal Football Insider. I'm flipping through my phone here just in case there's some breaking news that's going on, and I run across this story from the University of Miami. Doug Netzmeyer could become the new offensive coordinator for the Miami Hurricanes. Is this official yet? What have you heard?
I have not. I just saw that before I came on your show, so I have not. I've not gotten into that. Um, I still to this day don't know what kind of offense Doug Nussmeier runs from my time watching him at at Florida. You know, other than when Will Greer was a quarterback for about those 3 or 4 games, I really don't know what the Gators were running when he was the offensive coordinator. I will say that you know I will preface this by saying that whoever the offensive coordinator at Miami prior to Nussmeier was very personal to me because I also have a relationship with him. I used to be a member of his family back in the day through my
Oh,
previous marriage. So I've known Josh Gaddis since he was like 8 years old, and
right.
think a lot about him and his family and things like that. So it was unfortunate to see him be released after 1 year. Uh, it's interesting. It will be interesting to see where they go with Tyler Van Dyke taking the step back that he did. I'm not sure that Nussmeier is the QB whisperer that they think he is. Now we'll see, but yeah, when I saw that, I was like, really?
I know.
I just that was it took me back. Now the only thing I could say is obviously there's a relationship probably between Nussmeier and Cristobal. I would assume from their time when they were together at Alabama. But if you look, when Nussmeier was at Alabama, that was actually some of their leaner years offensively, when they got kind of stagnant, and then they kind of changed and went into the new ages, so to speak. So, like I said, once again, it'll just be interesting. That'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But that was intriguing. I'll read more about it, but I saw that right before I came on your show, and it did kind of, it took me for a minute, like, okay, I guess, so because he was with Dallas, right? Dallas Cowboys as quarterback coach
Yes,
with
he
Dak
was. Yes,
Prescott.
he was. And then Mike McCarthy released him along with several other guys.
Okay. Yeah, because Dak
The
Prescott never
offensive
got
coordinator,
better either. Kellen
more.
Moore. Kellen
Kellen
Moore.
Moore, who left the
Mhm.
team. I think the Bucks were trying to look at him, but before they could, he goes out to San Diego, gets the offensive coordinator's job, and the Bucks are still now without an offensive coordinator. And by the way, some news came out today. Let's talk a little bit more before we get into the Florida Gators. Who do you like in the Super Bowl as we get ready to watch the matchup? Who do you really like?
I just think Philadelphia is just, as much as to your chagrin, they're just more complete team. Getting Chauncey Gardner Johnson back was big for them. I mean, just Darius Slay at corner. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to come in a little banged up at running back, banged up at receiver. I just
banged
think,
up at quarterback. Yeah.
Banged up at quarterback, but he's a dog. He gonna do his thing. Kelsey will do his thing. But I just think, the Eagles were able to rest Sanders. They didn't really play him in the second half. I mean, they're 3 deep at running back, 5 deep at receiver. Solid at the tight end position, great up front. I just think they've been the best team in the NFL the entire year, and sometimes the best team does win, and I think this will be a situation where they bring it home. Close, but I think they'll step away. I think by at least 10 points.
And I agree with you too. I think Philadelphia's going to win. I hope they win. Had the Philadelphia Giant game been played at a neutral location, you think we would have seen the same outcome?
Yeah, beat down.
Yeah.
The Giants.
I don't know.
The Giants over. You talking about San Francisco or the Giants?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. San Francisco. I was thinking about the snowy game. That's one I was thinking about. But no. Okay. Yeah. The San Francisco game.
Neutral site. Well, once Brock Purdy got hurt, they were done. I mean, the defense played hard. They got best defense in the NFL is San Francisco 49ers. But, once they were already down. God love Josh Johnson, somebody who's been in the league. I think
he used to play with the Buccaneers. He used to play with the Buccaneers.
Right. So 10, 11 years out of San Diego, somebody who I actually saw him play in college against the University of Dayton when he was in college. And I just think that, once Brock Purdy got hurt and they're down a couple running backs too. Like I said, I just think Philadelphia is the best team in the NFL this year. Hurts is playing good enough. He's not playing great. Probably will win the MVP, but he's not playing great. He's playing good enough.
No.
And with what they have around him,
Exactly. It's what it's all about. It's what he has around him that's enabled him to become the quarterback that he has become. Couple more things to talk about. Let's go back to talk about our boys. They open up spring ball on March 4th. We heard about that. And then we found out that the orange and blue game will be on April 13th. Now, I understand Napier's motives. Want to put on a Thursday night, be able to get recruits in, but to have it on a weeknight, you're not going to get a lot of people in the stands to watch the game. And I've heard a lot of people talk about that. I don't know how you feel about it. I think it's a great move, but take it away and tell me how you feel about it.
I think it's a great move too. I mean, why not be the only show in town? The game's on TV. People can tune in. If you can't make the game, tune in. I'll actually be on a flight to Italy that night. I'll be watching on the airplane. I mean,
Nice.
people. It's a spring game. It's a free game. If you live anywhere from Tallahassee to what
Tampa?
uh, Tampa area, you can get to the
Yeah.
game and get back.
Oh, yeah.
Most,
Pre-game.
most adults, most adults have PTO, top time, vacation time. You take the
That's
next
right.
day and you go on in. I mean, it's the a lot of people, a lot of kids will be on spring break because it's a week after Easter. People want to make a big gripe about it and things like that. But like you said, when everybody wants Billy Napier to be this A-class recruiter, and he does these things to be in the best position he can be to get these young men on campus. He's really opened himself up to the alumni. So you're gonna have everybody from, I ran into Trey Burton last year, Freddie Swain, Channing Crowder. You're gonna have all the big dogs back in town. It'll all be great. They'll have the setup. Like I said, it's free. It's free, man. If it really means um, means that much to you, then I'm sorry. But like I said, I like the fact that it's prime time Thursday. There ain't nothing going on. The NCAA tournament will be over. People will be jonesing for some football Thursday night. There you go. And that way you can get, Billy Napier kind of has this 300-mile radius that he wants to recruit from. So any kid that they want to get on campus can drive to the game, be there. They can wine and dine them, and outside of a track meet or two that could be going on at that time, I think it's a great idea. Why not? And if you don't like it, get over
I love it. I love it. Speaking of the NCAA tournament, let's get off topic for just a minute. Let's talk about what happened last night. Florida, Tennessee, and the O'Connell Center. And for those that we're talking about NCAA basketball, yes, we're going to actually switch it up for just a minute. They take on the number 2 team in the country, the Tennessee Volunteers, under first-year head coach Todd Golden. And guess what? The Gators get another signature win under a rookie head coach and Todd Golden. They beat Tennessee. And what I like the best part about it is the fans did not storm the court. They acted in first class as the way they should. I like what Todd Golden's doing with this basketball team.
Yeah, I do too. I like Golden, and let me take my media hat off, and I'm gonna just be a fan.
I want you to be a fan.
I like Golden far more than I like Napier, and I'll leave it at that. For what I see going on, from the way that he behaves in public, I'll give you a story. So where we live in a complex, a fairly new complex, and these two coaches walk by. They obviously Florida basketball coaches, and I say, "Hey guys, you guys are on the coach staff?" "Oh yeah, da da da." Do you know that this man lived here for a month, and I didn't even know he was the head coach of the basketball program?
Todd Golden,
I'm seeing
nice.
him. I'm waving. He waving. He's saying "Go Gators." I'm saying "Go Gators," and I'm like, "Oh shit, that was Todd Golden." A week or two later. So anyway, just the way that he carries himself, I don't think he takes himself too seriously. And like I said, I know Billy Napier's. I think he's a good dude. All those things, but
Right.
I think that Napier is going to. I mean, I think that Golden is going to be able to recruit with his ties to the Atlanta area and things like that. I think he's going to be able to bring in some top-notch people from an organic
I do
level at the
too.
high school
I do
level.
too.
And then I think he's only going to continue to, because of his roots on the West Coast and things like that. I think he's going to be able to get some of those kids from the West Coast and different places to come this way. And I look for them to improve offensively. Cut down the roster a little bit, and then I mean, I really think I agree. He's done a really good job with the basketball team. Absolutely.
You know what's really shocking to me is that I've had you on for the past 25 minutes, and not once have you commented on the brand new jersey that I have on right now. An authentic Anthony Richardson jersey that I have. Courtesy of Fanatics, and you didn't bother to say anything about it.
But see, I'm gonna tell you, because if you look behind you, you got the whole setup. So I didn't know. I mean, I commented on your Facebook post. I did see that, and you did. I am pleased that you were able to get that. And it's looking good.
Yeah.
I like the white. It's solid. Solid.
I do. I like the white, but don't get anything on it. So I don't want to get anything on it. You got it. Yeah. Now you got it. I'm bringing with me to the Columbia, Missouri, when the Gators take on the Missouri Tigers this year. They're playing away in Columbia. Yeah. So I always go to that game. That's the game that I always go to see the Gators live. And I got to tell you something. I don't know if you know this or not, but the Columbia, Missouri fans, they are fantastic, Lauren. They treat you with first class. We went into this famous pizza place in Columbia, and my wife and I, we were sitting down, we're having pizza, and this Missouri fan comes up and says to us, "Are y'all tailgating tomorrow?" I go, "Yeah, we have no idea where we're going to." He says, "Well, come on and tailgate with us. We got free food and everything. We'd be happy to have you, no problem whatsoever."
Wow.
And it's, awesome. I mean, like, and they're every time I go to Missouri, the fans are just fantastic. It's just amazing. Final thing before I let you go. We talked about the whole Jacob Rashada deal, and I talked about earlier how the NCAA is going to announce some changes to the NIL, and that and wake up the Jacob Rashada deal, they may be looking at the University of Florida. Now, we know what's going on. But do you think the NCAA could step in and do an investigation? I mean, what are you hearing about this?
I think that they'll do their due diligence and try to find out who said and did what. I think that, and I've said this a long time ago, I think that Florida has put themselves in a position by setting themselves up by not getting into these kind of bidding wars to protect themselves. And there's a thing
which they should.
There's a thing called plausible deniability, if you know what I mean. So as far as the NCAA is concerned, they can say, Florida can say, A, this was somebody outside of our program, not connected to our program. B, there's no type of written contract anywhere. And 3, Jaden Rashada is not enrolled at the University of Florida. Those 3 things, I think, will absolve them from anything that the NCAA could get into. From what, looking on the outside, looking in, that's totally, now something could come out a month from now and we could all be saying, "Oh my God, can you believe it?" But from what I see I live 5 miles from the swamp. From the outside looking in, that's my call. From 5 miles away from the Hefner Center, that's my view.
One other point that I'm going to let you go. Florida Field, been an institution for many, 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 many years. They've upgraded them. They've upgraded the stadium. They've done, I think, as much as they can. At what point do they start looking at trying to build a new stadium? Has there been any conversations behind the scenes that you heard of anything? I mean, and this is something on my own that I don't know anything. I'm just bringing this up. Have you heard of any conversations? Maybe just small talk, or anything about the possibility that they're thinking about uh, building a new stadium or anything like that? I mean, I don't know. I mean, what?
Yes, Scott Strickland has said that they're going to renovate Florida Field. So what they're going to do is, and you've been to the Swamp before, right, or no?
I have
Have
been
you?
the last time I was at the great. Funny you say that to me. The last time I was at the Swamp was 2008, and the
Okay.
loss when they had against Kentucky when Tim Tebow gave the famous speech. I was at
Against
that
Ole
game.
Miss. Against Ole Miss.
Yeah, the Ole Miss. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was my last game I
So
was ever
so
at.
so it really hadn't changed since you've been there, but now they're actually gonna shrink the capacity of the Swamp. So they're going to go from like let's say 88,000 to 78,000. So they're going to
Okay.
take out some seats, and what the goal is to make most of the seating chairbacks, and they're
Oh.
going to have an entire concourse that goes so you can walk the entire stadium. So they'll have
Oh,
a concourse that
nice.
goes around. So, and the goal is because attendance has slipped everywhere throughout college football, they're
Yes,
going
it
to,
has.
so they're going to try to make it a lot more fan friendly, so to speak. That you want to come, it's a lot more relaxing. You're not scrunched up with people all up in your grill and that kind of thing. Because like where my seats are, I have two seats, and then obviously I have my media pass. But where my wife, I go sit with my wife during the game, and I mean we're right in the thick of things, and you pretty much stand the whole game.
Oh
So
yeah.
we've got seat backs and that kind of thing. But so the goal eventually, the goal is to shrink. Now I had heard as low as down to like 60,000, almost like a pro
Oh my
stadium almost.
gosh. Wow.
But so it could go as low, depending on what the architects think and things like that. But the goal is to build a concourse and then kind of make it a little bit more inviting for the fans to come to the game, enjoy themselves, and there you go. So yes, that is probably going to be done within 10 years from now. So that is a less than 10-year project for the Florida Gator, building committee, or facilities, that kind of thing. That'll happen in less than 10 years from now.
I know you gotta get your buddy Martin and get on his show. I gotta get him on. I want to get him on my show so bad. And maybe we can talk. Maybe you can help me with that. But
Yeah.
one other thing before we go, Utah, Florida. I'm hearing it's a Thursday night game. I'm hearing it's confirmed, but I don't know. What are you hearing about that?
Yeah, it's pretty much confirmed. That's going to be a Thursday night game, on one of the ABC affiliate networks, ESPN. Maybe even the Pac-12 network. Somebody will have that game. It's Utah's home game, and what I
What?
imagine is there was some issues. Remember, if you don't even remember, Utah had some issues flying out that Saturday night. They didn't get back until early Monday morning. So they went out to
Yeah,
the airport.
yeah.
So I think in lieu of those things happening to the Florida Gators, it is a flight, a lot of moving parts, things like that. Play the game on a Thursday. Make sure, because it's not really a classic. It's not a neutral site game where they're playing like in Vegas or somewhere like that. So allow Florida to get out there, get themselves acclimated, and then on Thursday, not rush to have to get back, so they can stay till Friday morning, that kind of thing, and then head on home. And there's no rush. They can leave Friday afternoon even, and there's no issues with that and that kind of thing. Now, obviously, I think Florida flies a little bit more first class than than the Utah Utes do with the private planes and those kind of things. A little different, but you just never know. It could be weather. You just don't know what could happen. So I think that was the main plan. Also, if you're ESPN again, why wouldn't you take advantage of the West Coast, West Coast market? Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
That rarely ever gets that kind of play. Like I said, you got the Las Vegas market, 5 hours away from Salt Lake City. Quite a few Florida Gator fans, and
exactly.
A lot of betting is the first weekend of college football. A lot of betting, a lot of money will be moving. So it just makes sense for Utah and the Pac-12, and you get a national game. You're gonna have a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback. I think they'll be in the mix. So I think it just makes sense for Utah all the way around.
And to review what happened, the Utah players were stuck in the airport for several hours, and the Florida Gators and Scott Strickland Company made sure that they were taken care of, that they had food, they had all the essentials that they needed. They were taking care of them during the tough time they were going through. So just wanted to make sure that everybody knows about what happened with that incident. You feel like joining me next week? Go ahead.
I'm out of town next week, so we
okay. All right, all right. Well, then fine. Then since you're out of town this week, fine. Since you're out of town, give me your Super Bowl prediction then.
I'm gonna say Eagles 34, Colts 21. I mean Chiefs 21. Yeah.
That's how much the Super Bowl is taking interest. When Lauren Meadows forgets the team, there's not much interest. Yeah. I love it. Hey, you have a safe trip. We might do one more after the Super Bowl, and hop on with us, and then we'll talk about, because I imagine there may be some things that's happening within 2 weeks. Okay, buddy?
Got it, boss.
Thank you, Lauren. And thank you for joining me. I appreciate that. That is Lauren Meadows. And by the way, next time, thanks, Lauren. By the way, next time I'll make sure you have the chicken wings. Okay. As we said, thank you, Lauren Meadows, for joining me. We appreciate that. Now, the skills competition that's going on ESPN. We got the East-West Shrine game that's happening on NFL Network. They'll be doing the Senior Bowl on Saturday. That should be an interesting game. That's about it for the games this week. Then we follow up with the Super Bowl coming up 1 week from this Sunday. Now, as far as Super Bowl coverage, Monday night will be NFL Media Night. That should be interesting. And then followed by events that will happen throughout the course of the week. Other things that we can tell you that's going on, nothing much. We can tell you that DeMarco Ryans is the new head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Sean Payton is now the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. I didn't know this. There are 3 Gators that are playing in tonight's game. Amari Burney, Justin Shorter, and Trey Dean are playing in the East-West Shrine game tonight, so you might want to check that out. So that's what's going on there as well. Okay, so it's been a very interesting week around the national for what's been going on this week. I want to thank everybody that's been joining us in the comment section, Peter Gallenz and others as well. Thank you all for joining me. Next Thursday night, we'll be back for another edition of the Animal Football Insider. I'll give you my prediction on who will win the Super Bowl, update you on any news that's going on. Hopefully, we might have a new offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Thank you to Lauren Meadows for hopping on with me for a few minutes. Lucas the Main Gator hopping on with me for a few minutes. We'll be back next week for a pre-Super Bowl edition of the Animal Football Insider. Until then, take care. God bless. And as I always like to say, if you're not a Gator, you're bound to be Gator beat. Good night, everybody. God bless. and go Gators.
Thank you for watching Animal Football Insider. Be sure to join us every Thursday night here on Facebook Live.